I'm going to do an unboxing of the next model kit I'm making, and this one is a Revell 1/9 scale Kawasaki ZX7RR. Considerably quite a big box, as you can see, my hand there for scale. And this one obviously had a little wear and tear, but let's have a look and see what we can see inside. One large bag of parts. I'm just going to remove the parts from the bag and lay them out, because it's quite difficult filming and doing that while holding a camera. Okay, so that's the box empty. It's just one large bag. It's with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 screws, and down inside here somewhere, a sheet of instructions which are nice and comprehensive. One of the things that Revell tends to do, which I like, is in the instruction sheet you generally get one of these, which is a sheet showing you all of the sprues that should be in the kit. These are great because you can tell at a glance if there are any parts missing, which is not always apparent in other kits. And then they're just laid out in typical fashion, exploded diagrams, arrows, and glue, don't glue, and so on signs. Oddly, with this kit, assembly instructions start with the chain, which are separate links, which I will just show you. There's 3 of these, and these are all individual little plastic links that make up a chain. That'll be interesting. I've never made anything like that before. I've only ever worked with the Tamiya kits, which have a solid one-piece chain. But they make the assembly look fairly straightforward, because you assemble it while it's on the sprue and then snip it off afterwards, in theory leaving you a workable chain. And they're held by using a soldering iron. Quite tricky to see there, but that represents the tip of a soldering iron touching the plastic points and melting them. So other than that, the instructions are quite straightforward, and pretty much par for the course, as you'd expect, with the back page being used to show you where the decals go once the model's complete. So let's have a look at the parts. We've got 2 sizable tyres. Now the size of this kit's quite surprising for me. So I've only ever built the Tamiya 1/12 kits, so this is considerably larger. It seems everything seems too big initially. The first thing that strikes you is the quality is quite evidently not as crisp as the Tamiya kit, but that said, it is really very good. There are a few sort of sharp lines which are going to need cleaning up, which I can't really pick up on this video, but on the edge of the fairing, for example, where it goes down to the air intakes, and sort of on the edges of the tank, just behind that piece of sprue there, which you may just be able to see. So a little bit of cleaning up and dressing up with a file and some sandpaper, and that should be fine. So there's your green sprue, which contains all of your body parts, your fairing sides, your tank, your front mudguard. There's the purple sprue, which contains the wheels, the rear tail piece. There's a black sprue containing the exhaust, and a few parts that have come off the sprue over there with the seat, the 3 of the downpipes, some pipe work. So over here we've got the complete exhaust system with the 4th missing part of the downpipes, the radiator, and various other bits and pieces, handlebars and so on. Quite tricky to see that one, but I'll just have a sort of slow pan down there. But you can see the clocks, you can see the pillion seat, and you can see the air intake covers just here, and you can see the radiator just here, for example. A bracing bar which goes up and holds the top fairing in place, the rear tailpiece assembly, and the exhaust pipe. So So we'll move that aside. We have a silver sprue underneath that which contains the swinging arm, carburetors and the engine assembly. There's the rocker cover, the airbox up here in two parts, and various parts of the engine assembly which all slot together, the front and rear, the sump just over here and so on, all slot together to make a complete engine, and various other bits of pipework there, as you can see. Now, just to give you an example, if I can get a fairly close view on this sprocket here, I don't know if this will focus. So I'm working with my phone camcorder here, so it's a little bit trickier. I don't have the control that I normally have, but it's tricky to tell, but you can actually see that the level of detail is just not as good as the Tamiya kits when you look at a piece like this, for example, but it is very good. We've got a chrome sprue here, which is done in a sort of slightly dull chrome, for the footrest hangers, the mirror inserts, the petrol cap, the brake discs and so on. I'll be bleach dipping these and stripping them and painting them using some metal coat stainless steel for the discs, which I like, and possibly alclad chrome or stainless for various other bits, because I find this kind of finish a little unconvincing. So there's your three sprues for the pieces of chain. I say it's tricky to see, but they're all separate links. We have a bag of cabling and little screws and a couple of springs there. The springs, there are three of them, one large one for the rear suspension, two small ones for the front suspension, which should work once it's assembled. We have another silver sprue here which contains the frame rails, the front forks, uppers and lowers over here, side stand over here. One little detail I do like about this, and one that a lot of other kits including Tamiya do miss out, is if you look carefully around the air intake tubes and such like, it has the actual weld detail, which is fantastic. And again at the rear section just here, I can't really get close enough to show that in good detail, but believe me, it's very, very convincing when you get close to, and it really does look like welded aluminium beam frame, as you would see on the real thing. And a few little bits of flash here and there, like here for example on the exhaust hanger, but nothing too drastic. On the whole, it's very, very nicely moulded indeed. And then there's one clear sprue in its own plastic bag along with the chrome parts, and nice lovely clear screen, headlight, tail light, indicators and so on, and dipping clear for those as per the norm, just to bring the sheen out, and that'll be grand. So while it looks initially quite daunting, the parts count is really not as high as you'd think. As I say, with a little clean up, this should build into quite a nicely presentable kit. So hopefully I'll get some more videos on as I progress with